guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to be covering the highly anticipated update to the very popular video series that I covered a week ago, which is titled, Husband Catches Pregnant Wife Cheating at Barbecue and Recruits His Family on the Epic Level Revenge Plan. And guys, you all asked for it, and he responded. If you all recall, in the way it ended, it was pretty abrupt, because the story was quite long. And a lot of you, like me, was wondering what the heck happened afterwards in terms of the divorce, the settlement with the a-hole neighbor, all those things. So I told you guys in the comment section, let him know if you want more. And he listened. And so here it is. And as a very brief recap, that's about the guy who went scorched earth on his now ex-wife he called Jessica and his neighbor Mike after finding out that they were having an affair. A pretty disgusting one at that. Hooking up in his house, all those things. She was pregnant, thought it was his kid. Nope, wasn't his kid. All that stuff. And this guy comes from a family of lawyers. Mom and dad are both lawyers. Dad started a law firm. They're now retired from the law firm, but they still, pop in from time to time. His brother and sister are lawyers. This is not a family you want to mess with. And they got money, too. And before he and Jessica got married, they really thought she was a good thing. He rushed into a relationship with her, was way too into her, which led to her, in my opinion, her behavior. But they had an ironclad prenup, all these things. They did all these things to protect his money and all that. You'd think that she'd be smart enough not to mess with him. Wrong. Well, anyhow, he caught them at a barbecue, kissing and all that. That guy rubbing her belly, set up surveillance around the house, caught video of them doing all sorts of nasty, you all recall that, and embarked on his path of revenge. Well, here we go where he's going to explain in detail what went down afterwards to Jessica, the a-hole that was banging her, and all these other things you wanted to ask. Or, things you had questions and wanted answers to. So he continues his story, says here, Dear Mr. SSM, I'm writing to give you an update, or more like a gap filler. I left out a lot of the drama towards the end of my story. Before I set my story, my brother cautioned me on what I could reveal and couldn't reveal according to the terms of my settlement with Mike. Mike is the dude that was banging Jessica. My brother also joked and said, remember yourself as a virgin. Do a lot of talking and get to the finish quickly. So I apologize for the abrupt ending. I eroded on the side of caution and got to the premature finish, but honestly, I was just mentally tired of trying to write this betrayal. I get it, man. I get it. It was a long story, and a great one. This was definitely one of the better stories I've covered in a long time. And frankly, this is probably, I would say, the top 15 best stories I've ever covered on all three channels. That's how good this was. Well, I just listened to your videos, SSM, and read the comments. I'm glad my story may help other guys. For those that said my story is AI, I'm just laughing. It's a true story, and I don't think AI would compare Mike's junk to Costco's summer sausage. So F you soy boys if you don't believe it. Go back to Reddit and enjoy your avocado toast while adjusting to your man buns. Guys, you're sending a story. There's always going to be somebody that's going to say it's BS. But there's a lot yes, there can be BS stories that come in from time to time. It's not impossible. And people will use AI to write things. It's not impossible. But by and large, and there's just little things, in my opinion, I can tell. But there's always going to be somebody that's going to say you're full of crap or AI wrote this. Just don't let it bother you. Anyhow, I did see some comments from women, and they were quite positive. Praise the Lord on that. There is hope for this world. Even though the soy boys or blue-haired pigs can't define what a woman is, it actually takes a real woman to populate this world and kids to make the world go round, by the way. Exposing Jessica turned out to be a blessing. Well, we're in the business of exposing Jessicas, and there's a lot of crazy Jessicas out there that need to be exposed. My life couldn't be better, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. I date who I want, when I want, and don't really give a crap about relationships right now. I'm on my grind and continue to grow my company. I'm not even in my prime yet. According to my dad, I won't be in my prime until 40 or 50 years old. I'm gaining more success every day, and I already have a very significant nest egg in the bank thanks to the jump start from Mike, you fucking shitbag. Remember at the end, there was a big settlement with Mike. Mike has money. And this guy was in a no-fault divorce state, and the alienation of affection law, whatever the hell it is. This guy made some money. And you know what? He deserves it. So where do I start filling in the gaps? There was so much going on at the time, I'm going to have to skip around a bit. Let me start with what happened after the first surveillance video catching Jessica playing cornhole with Mike. After that, I removed my guns and ammo from the house and took them to my brother's house. Even though I wanted to crush Mike, I didn't remove them because of what I might have done. I removed them because I no longer trusted Jessica and had no idea what she was capable of. Smart idea, man. You never know what somebody's capable of until it's too late. Although you still obviously had kitchen knives and things like that in the house. From what I saw, I didn't know her anymore, and I was going to take every precaution possible. This was also a recommendation by my lawyer. When she saw the video, she called me and reminded me to stay calm and focus on the next steps. Jessica's world was about to be decimated, and I really didn't know what she would do. I also removed my passport, birth certificate, and any important legal documents from the house. Very smart. That's something I'll admit I don't tell guys enough to do when they're about to wreak havoc. Get all the important documentation out of there, because your wife could burn them, and then you're in trouble. Yes, you can replace those things, but that's a headache. A few days later, my lawyer called me to inform me there was a discrepancy with the phone records. I was like, how could there possibly be a discrepancy? They are black and white. She explained to me that before Captain Cornhole entered my home on surveillance that morning, I said he called my wife on the phone, and the video clearly shows Jessica talking to someone. However, there was no such phone call to Jessica at 8:42 in the morning, according to the phone records. I assured my lawyer that my cameras and time and date were accurate. I told my lawyer there must be an app that they're using to communicate, and I would get to the bottom of it. My lawyer was a killer, and she immediately wanted to place Mike on that call with my wonderful wife at the time, and she knew what my lawsuit had to prove, and she was a monster when it came to details. She's thorough, as a lawyer should be. But there was no call made to Jessica's phone at that time. This investigation opened a jackpot of pure golden evidence of lies, betrayal, deception, and intent for the lawyers to sue the shit out of Mike. How did Mike feel being on the other side of that corncob? Well, my home network was actually multiple networks. I had our guest Wi-Fi for barbecues, etc., separated from my two other networks, a home Wi-Fi network for everyday use and media fun. I had another network for business use, IP camera surveillance, home office printer, etc. They were all separated. I had very expensive military commercial-grade appliances I used for my CCIE labs running my networks. My appliances were locked up in a fully enclosed NSA-grade network rack. Remember, guys, in case you forgot, this is his line of work. He's in that type of company that deals with all that type of stuff. Shit that I don't understand. I'm aware of, but don't understand. This is the guy. This is the guy you want to contact to make your place, secure. I checked the QoS logs and immediately looked for any and all apps using my home Wi-Fi that may reveal the source of that phone call. Bingo. There was a walkie-talkie messaging app on the network, and it was coming from Jessica's phone, MAC address, as in my company phone. Mike had told Jessica to use the app for them to communicate to hide their communications. I never needed to physically check Jessica's phone. I hooked up a commercial-grade packet sniffer appliance to filter all networks. Holy crap, this is cool. Well, I captured all the data down to the packet level coming in and out of Jessica's phone from my network. From there, I was able to strip the data packets and deconstruct the data from the text messages and voice calls back into plain text form. It says in parentheses, binary ones and 2 bitches. I could read every message and every voice call in black and white. The 2 cornhole champions were so cheap, they didn't even upgrade to the free version of the app to a paid version. The paid version used encryption, always get encryption, he says. Well, obviously. The amount of messages and voice calls sealed Mike's fate in the settlement. I can't say the exact amount, but sucks to be you, Mike. Not spending $7 a month for premium version cost you around 7 figures, you fucking clown. I had a feeling this dude got 7 figures from Mike, because Mike was very wealthy. 7 figures. That's a nice way to jumpstart your life. I can just sit in a separate account in various funds and appreciate in value as you just continue on with your life. Oh, before I forget, there's one specific thing I can talk about that I got from Mike. It was not part of the settlement. It was a private transaction between the two of us. It was an idea I passed to my lawyer. I wanted Mike's motorcycle. His son helped me, but I spent 2 months restoring his bike for free and goodwill as a neighbor. How did he repay me? By banging my wife. While I was sweating my ass off working on Mike's bike, the motherfucker was banging my wife. You're darn right, take that bike. Mike begrudgingly signed his bike over to me in person. It had to be done in person, and he didn't say a word when he did. My lawyer said it was dick swinging thing between two men. You're darn right about that. When I told her I wanted his bike, she laughed and said, typical guy, and then she told me a story. She said that she asked one of her clients, why is it that many of my male clients only want their motorcycle in divorce? Her client said, because I want to get the fuck away from her as fast as possible. We both laughed, and anyway, how did it feel, Mike, seeing me ride your bike around the city? You fucking shitbag. This is hilarious. So, a bit about Jessica. Okay, I know you all wanted to get down to Jessica. I'll start to when I served her. Jessica was served at the house as soon as she got home from the hospital. It was the divorce papers, and attached was only one still photo of her and Mike kissing at my back gate. That is the only evidence I presented with the divorce papers. This was done by design. She had no idea what evidence we had on her and Mike. She had no idea that the cameras were rolling 24/7 in and around the house, and a PI following these two assholes. Once she was served, we knew Jessica would call Mike and they would discuss how to cover her tracks. Or their tracks. Yes, it went exactly as planned. Those effing idiots were being played for months. Every scenario and every contingency was planned for, discussed, and strategized. It went as the lawyers had planned. Man, this guy's got a team. All these lawyers, all these sharks, all these smart people. This is the people you want to have in your circle. And again, this dumb asshole. Both these dumb assholes thought they could fool these people. Upon receiving the divorce papers, Jessica screamed, "No!" She studied the still photo and ran to the back patio and looked up at the outside back patio camera. Now, this camera was an old camera that my dad used to have connected to his old legacy security system, but it had been deactivated for years and didn't work when we moved into the house. Jessica knew this because I had an old DVR and cameras thrown out. I left that one camera in place because I wanted a wired connection to any new system that I may put in place for the backyard, so someone couldn't sniff on the wireless security. I just never got around to upgrading it. Little did Jessica know, my IT guys converted the legacy analog camera to an IP camera. She never knew that the camera worked. She then ran back to the house, grabbed a can of wasp spray, and ran back outside, proceeded to spray the camera. It was up pretty high, and she couldn't reach it, but that wasp spray shot a 10-foot straight beam of foam all over the camera. She then went back into the house, sat on the couch, and started crying. Yeah, poor her. And oh yeah, remember, she gave birth to that child. That ain't this guy's kid. She then called Mike, and they hatched their plan to cover up the affair. Jackpot. The cameras were rolling, and my network packet sniffer was sucking up all Wi-Fi voice call, cleaner than a hooker named Hoover. The conversation they had forever memorialized their betrayal and intended cover-up. Thanks, jackasses, straight to the lawyers. So the whole time they're planning their big cover-up, meanwhile, cameras are rolling. After all the evidence was cataloged, Captain Cornhole, a.k.a. Mike, was served along with the same picture of him kissing my wife at the back gate. He was potentially expecting it, and after getting served, Mike again called Jessica. Again, the video data capture and Hoover in action. We didn't need any more evidence, but these two fucktards thought all I had was the back patio photo. Mainly because I left the house when Jessica was just 6 months pregnant. I had not back in the house, and she knew it. Remember, guys, in the video at the end, he left 3 months before she gave birth because he couldn't take it anymore. And I said, no wife would ever allow their husband without a fight to leave 3 months before, when she's 6 months pregnant. But obviously, Jessica didn't care because she could be with the neighbor all the time. She's like, okay, go ahead. And he was off on India for business, but he just couldn't take it anymore. And the 3 months prior to me leaving, I was recording everything and never said a word. I had 6 months of disgusting infidelity and corroborating conversations documented for the record. They were done. When I returned from Thailand, I moved directly into a condo unit owned by my father's law firm. The law firm owned the building and would offer the multiple units to any VIP clients when they flew into town to discuss their cases. Wonderful. Another family-owned thing you can benefit from. No, not family-owned, company-owned. Your family controls everything, they own nothing. Most of you will get that. While I was staying there, I met some very influential business owners, and I would invite them to join me for dinner on the roof beer garden, as I would grill on a variety of things on the barbecue every night. It was awesome. From those friendships I made, I added another $100K in yearly service contracts to the company. Wonderful. I'm glad you're, adapting to a new situation and finding positives. Back to Mike. Talk about karma. Mike was bent over and illegally cornholed. What the lawyer said about taming a wild dog, instead of putting it down, came true. I took the one thing Mike loved more than himself, his money. And his money was his power. The settlement I signed was not one-sided. I declined his first two offers per counsel. His lawyer slammed his hand down and said, "This is extortion." My lawyer said, "No, this is settlement. Now go back and speak with your client. The third offer will need to be your last or we go to court." Good for you. Never accept the first offer. And frankly, even the second offer. So I took the very generous third offer and the motorcycle. I signed a no disparagement clause, and the only thing the NDA said was I could not disclose the exact details of the settlement. That was non-negotiable for me. Mike's lawyers were fuming, but Mike really didn't have a choice. That wild dog is on a leash now. And all we know is you got somewhere in the seven-figure category. Poor you. You're set, dude. Whatever that is, if you can make, 5% on that. An average of 5% on that. And that was pretty fucking low over the years. But I'm sure obviously you're smart enough to put it in places you can make vastly more than that annual return average per year. Obviously you're going to have some down years, but you get my point. Some people were asking about Mike's wife. Well, as soon as my mother gave orders to investigate Mike's finances, assets, and investments, it was discovered that there was no public record of Mike's marriage to Mary. That's interesting. She had a big rock on her finger. They called each other husband and wife, but they were never married. Mike's son, well, it's not his son. Mike took in a single mom. I almost feel sorry for Mary. She's beautiful, and I knew this about them not being married before I left for India and Thailand. Mary was always very nice to me, which she could have done something about this. Oh, did I mention she connected to my Wi-Fi too when she was over? She suspected something and may have had evidence, but she said nothing. Yep, I have had those texts between her and her bestie. Thank you, Hoover. But as my lawyer said in an offhand comment, Mary chose a lifestyle instead of a good man that would love her as his wife. Holy shit, that stung. That statement will haunt me when I'm ready to get married again. That's if I ever get married again, how many women think like this? Dude, why would you get married again? You're loaded. You got your own company. You have a passion for it. You come and go as you please. The only way I can see you get married again is if you truly want to have children. Carry on. Yes, the family name will be carried on. You have a brother. I'm assuming he might have sons. But you never know. But at least right now, you enjoy your life. Keep doing what you're doing. And after what you've been through, I wouldn't blame you. There's a ton more, but it's all drama from the last 2 years. Jessica did not take the last 2 years very well at all. I can imagine, because she was screwed. She pulled out all the pages of the Hobag handbook. She initially wanted to fight the divorce, but screwed up and used lawyers Mike had provided for her. Those lawyers are going to do what's best for Mike, not her. During mediation, we dropped the bomb videos and the prenup after we knew Mike's lawyers would be representing her. After that, Mike's lawyers encouraged her to sign the divorce uncontested according to my terms. Sweet dude. Remember, guys, he mentioned in the previous video that she ended up having to pay him alimony because in their marriage, she was, I believe, a nurse. Shocker. He owned his own company, but it was early in the stages of his company, and even though he was doing well, he only gave himself a salary of like $20,000 a year and reinvested everything back in the company. So on paper, hey, he's making $20,000 a year, and I think she was making like $140,000, $150,000, so she had to pay him, even though this dude was loaded. Genius. Mike's lawyers were not representing her best interest. They were taking care of Mike's best interest. Jessica got bent over again from the guy that was bending over her. Reminds me of the story of the scorpion and the frog. Jessica was the frog, and Mike is the scorpion. Karma, baby, karma, semper fi. And there you go, guys. That fills in some gaps about what happened and all that. I know you were dying to hear, and that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, I would have been happy that none of this shit happened to this guy, that Jessica was who he thought she was and hoped she was, and he had a great marriage and life and a kid. But that's not how it turned out. So thank God he had the fucking A-team with him, and wealth and connections and people with brains, and planned for every possible thing known to man, and they handled it like the fucking, I want to know who this law firm is. Shit. But anyhow, I'm glad you've been able to turn things around with your life, and you're happier than ever. I want that. So this is a great story, and a great story about a guy who does things right in terms of planning shit, responding to a situation, and moving on. You know? Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to move on when you got money, of course, and family money and all that, and your own company and all that. But, but even guys in the worst situations that are screwed in a lot of ways can find that strength deep down and persevere and turn their lives around. It can take time, but they can do it. So, guys, there you go. So, brother, enjoy Thailand. Enjoy your babes. Have a blast. And who knows what's going to happen down the road with you. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you got a great story you're dying to share. Or maybe you got a story you want to share, but you're a little, apprehensive about sharing it on the channel. Well, send it anyway. You'll help somebody out, and you'll feel better when you do that. The email is strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And, again, if it's a really good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.